In the fall of 2021, I worked at a Spirit Halloween store. For those who don't know, Spirit Halloween sets up temporary shops every year in empty buildings, selling costumes, decorations, and all sorts of spooky stuff. These stores only stay open until a few days after Halloween. Then they close and disappear until the next year. That year, Spirit Halloween opened a store in my town for the very first time. It was a big deal for us since it was in an old historic building that had been around forever but had been empty for a long time. I'm a huge fan of horror, so when I heard they were hiring, I applied right away. I was excited when I got the job. Working there was fun at first. The building was a little creepy, but that was part of the charm. My coworkers were friendly, and I quickly got the hang of things, working the register and helping customers find what they needed. But as the Halloween season came to an end, the weird stuff started happening. It was late October when I first noticed something strange. I was on my way back from my break, walking through the aisles of costumes, when I heard someone call my name. It was faint, like a whisper from the back of the store. I looked around, expecting to see one of my coworkers, but there was no one there. Just customers browsing for costumes and props. I shook it off, thinking I must have imagined it. A few days later, on November 1st, things got even stranger. That was the second to last day before the store closed for good, and everything was 25% off. We expected to be busy, but barely anyone showed up. It was just me, another sales associate, the manager, and the assistant manager working that night. The store felt different, quieter, almost too quiet. At one point, I was the only one in the main part of the store. My coworker was in the back room, and the managers were doing paperwork. As I walked past the animatronics display, one of the figures suddenly came to life. It was one of those clowns with a knife, the kind that's supposed to scare people when they walk by. But the weird thing was, none of the animatronics had been turned on. They were supposed to stay off because we were getting ready to pack them up. I froze, staring at the clown as it waved its knife and laughed. My heart raced, and I hurried back to the front of the store. The whole place felt off, like something was watching me, even though I knew I was alone in that section. Later that night, I was sitting at the counter with the assistant manager, just waiting for the shift to end. My other coworker was in the restroom, and the store was practically empty. I was zoning out, staring into space, when something caught my eye. It was a faint, glowing shape floating near one of the shelves. At first, I thought it was just a reflection from the window, but the windows were covered with black paper for decoration, and there wasn't much light coming in. The glowing shape hovered for a few seconds before it melted into the air and disappeared. My assistant manager must have seen it too, because he turned his head and said, "Did you see that?" I nodded. "Yeah, what was that?" Neither of us could explain it, but we both saw the same thing. It wasn't just in my head. The next day, I told my coworkers about it, and to my surprise, a few of them had noticed strange things too. They had heard noises in the back room, like footsteps or someone whispering. One of them even said they saw costume bags moving on their own, like someone was touching them when no one was there. We all joked about the store being haunted, but deep down, I think we all believed it. On the last day, November the 2nd, the store felt more eerie than ever. We had taken down most of the decorations, and the shelves were almost empty. The animatronics were gone, packed up for the season. But even without all the creepy stuff around, the building still felt alive. As we closed the store for the final time, locking the doors behind us, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was still there, watching us leave. Maybe it was something from the building's past, or maybe it was something that had woken up during the Halloween season, feeding off the energy of all the people who had come and gone. Whatever it was, I was glad to be out of there. I never went back to that building, but sometimes I wonder if whatever haunted the store is still there, waiting for the next Spirit Halloween to open its doors.